Yo YouTube! You see, you are with me on the Humber Bridge as I go home after another day on the road. This is a video for Friday, 24th of November. Can't believe it's 1 month until Christmas. I'm trying to not engage with Christmas this year until the very last minute. I reckon we've got 4 more weeks of work, if that. Maybe 3.5, and it's all going to die off. Right, anyway, let me tell you about today. I had a job booked in this morning, which was a really good start to the day, going from Kings Lynn to Redcar in the northeast. And it was 183 miles, and I put £1.20 per mile on, going for £225 for a long wheelbase. So that was all in the bag, and it was I had to pick it up between 8 and 9 o'clock. So I left the house about 7:20. It's about an hour to get to the pickup where I live, a bit less. And so I went over, and then the shipper told me I had to wear full protection, PPE, which was obviously the jacket, the boots and the hard hat, and I do have those items. We didn't need to wear goggles, but those 3 items. Just for the sake of completeness, I always wear my high-vis coat or jacket. That means I mean jacket or sort of vest, and I always wear my steel toe cap. The Skechers shoes are comfortable when I'm driving them. So I can't be bothered with taking shoes on and off, or taking my coat on and off, or my jacket on and off. Just wear them all day. And then my hat. I worked for the second time today. So I arrived at the pickup at around about 8:45, and it was a weird sight. It was quite big, surprisingly big. And it was full of porter cabins, and I went to the security place in the front, told them where I was going, and he had no idea where I was meant to go. So he took me to the goods in bit. I eventually found the goods in bit. It wasn't that easy, and then the lady there said we was going to the other side of the site, which she was going to show me. So she walked ahead of me, and I followed her to another corner. It's a good job because I never would have found it without her help. And then when I got there, they were expecting me, and I took the items and loaded them on board. 20 different items, 20 items, they weren't all different. And they were to go to another depot of the same company, but in Redcar. So I'd loaded up, strapped it all down, got it all signed off, pictures taken as always, and then I made my way towards Redcar. So it was quite. It was about roughly 4 hours was the scheduled time for the journey. So I gave myself 4.5 hours. No, I gave myself 5 hours on the ETA. No, just under 5 hours, just to be on the safe side. And then I started making my way. So I would have left. Oh, the strapping up and the loading took a while, so I left the site probably about 9:30. So I was scheduled to arrive around about 1:30, 2 o'clock. So yeah, so I made my way towards the north. I'm finding, I think, that for me, Kings Lynn might be a good place to get work from, because it's kind of, and the reason why I said that is it's within an hour of me, and it depends on which side of Kings Lynn I go. If I go to the west of Kings Lynn, it's about 45 minutes, and obviously the east is about an hour. And Kings Lynn isn't necessarily a very popular place to get work from. It does come up with my home location, and I tend to avoid it because it tends to be stuff that's closer. But like I've been starting to go north to Sleaford and Boston and to Lincoln, for for the same reasons, I could probably go more further east to King's Lynn, because there's less drivers there, and if there is a job coming out of King's Lynn, it's highly likely to be going a long distance, because you've gone that much further east. Then there's more chance that there's a longer job going either west or north. So I would like to go north from King's Lynn, because it basically comes back towards my home and then up the A1M, and if I can get work along the A1M corridor, sort of Grantham, Newark, I should know what comes next. Nottingham's down there on the left, and I'm thinking up sort of Wetherby, Leeds, and then further up you've got Middlesbrough, Doncaster, obviously Newcastle, and even Edinburgh going up there. I mean, that's a nice drive. So kind of going up the east of the country, up and down the east of the country, might be a tactic that's worth me looking into. The road can have its problems, the A1M, but I like it because it's got lay-bys, so if I need to stop for a bit of a toilet rest, I can. As opposed to a motorway, which you have to come off it. Anyway, so quite an easy journey up to the Redcar, and when I arrived, it was going to. I went to where the sat-nav took me. That's a security gate, and they said you can't come in here. You'll go around to the visitor centre and sign it. So he directed me how to get there. I went around about 2 or 3 miles around, and then came to another security office. I'd come off at the wrong junction, and he said to go around another junction and come in another entrance. But this site was enormous. It basically, when I got there, I basically found out it was a massive industrial chemical plant, but not just a single company, lots of companies. And I was delivering to one company inside it. When I did arrive at the login place, I had to watch a video for the safety site instructions. It was about 10 minutes long. I had to get a pass, and to sign a few things, and then he gave me a map and drew on it where I should go, which was really handy because I never would have found where I was going to go otherwise. So I eventually got to my drop-off point, and it was about by the time I got there, it was more like 2:15. And by the time I was offloading my stuff and off-site, it was gone 2:30. So now it was time to try and find another job, and I had a plan, well, a vague plan. I had been looking for jobs all the way up. I did text the Northeast shipper that I'd done work for last week and double checked if there was any work for them I could do, and there wasn't, so that's that option taken care of. But my other plan was to try, if I could, to do a trip from Redcar, Middlesbrough area, to either Manchester or Leeds or Sheffield. That's on distance, about 2-hour journey away. That was my original plan, at least, because I thought I'd be off-site by 2 o'clock. I thought if I had a 2-hour trip, I could probably perhaps be in those areas by 4 o'clock and find like my third job of the day. But as it was, there was just not very much coming out. Now there was a job from Durham going to, where was he going to? I think it was something like, I'm going to find out because it's a really good job. So as I was leaving the northeast, sorry, I just put in Leeds as my go-to destination, just to get myself away from the centre of the place I was delivering to, and get me out into the motorways. And as I was driving southwards, a job came up from, no, it was Darlington, sorry. Apologise to all you northeast people, probably thinking I'm an idiot. Actually, probably not sleeping anyway. So Darlington to Derby, which would have been great for me. Derby's about an hour from where I live, and I put so that that was for a medium wheelbase van, 136 miles, and I put a bid on £130, and that would have been perfect. It was 2 Euro pallets, and I didn't get anything. It said specifically in the notes, do not call, and I would have wanted to call them just to say what price do you want, but I daren't sort of do it in case I got shouted at. Yeah, so I started driving. I was heading, then I started heading south. I thought I'll just take a punt at this, cancel my bid, put £120 on 120, and I said I thought I'd give it until the next junction, because I had time to go back if I needed to, but I didn't hear anything from them. It would have been about 15 minutes in total that the job was on there, so I thought fair enough, I'll give it a good try. Yeah, so that was a shame because it would have really made my day perfect. There wasn't a lot of work coming up North East today, so I just thought I'd head for towards Leeds, and my target time was 4 o'clock, but by the time I fuffed about and got out of Redcar, it became 4:15, and then I started looking for jobs coming from there, and there was quite a lot of work coming from the Leeds area. Since I've been focusing on Leeds, I've been quite impressed with how busy it is. There's some pretty good shippers around that area getting jobs out, and I would pretty much be certain that if I was in that area close enough, I'd get a job. So yeah, in the end, I put a bid on a few jobs, and I got offered a job going from Leeds to Hull. And I put a bid on going from Bradford to Huntingdon. That was delivering on Monday morning. And I got a call from the Leeds to Hull one offering me the job. It was, just have a look at it. It was 63 miles. I put a bid on a £75 for a short wheelbase van job. And when he called, I did put my estimated time of arrival of being an hour, but I knew it was an hour and 15 minutes. I thought if I get a call, I'll tell them from the actual postcode what my ETA would be. So when he did call, I said, just before you give me the job, can you tell me what the actual postcode is, because it might be longer than an hour. And he told me, and I said it was going to be an hour and 10 minutes from where I was. I was heading south at this point, but I said realistically I'm not going to be there till 5:30, and the job wanted it to be done no later than 5:15. So he said he'd ring me back, check with his customer if his customer was still going to be there, and so I phoned down and just waited and carried on driving down south. And he called back and he said that they would be there for me, but get as soon as I could. So I accepted that job, put the phone down, and then the phone rang. And the phone was another job being offered to me, and it was the job from Bradford to Huntingdon that I'd bid on £150, and that was delivering in Huntingdon on Monday morning. So it would have been, for me, a much better job, because I would have gone straight home tonight. Let me just check the mileage on the system. It was a short wheelbase job, 139 miles. I bid £150, and I had to just say to them, sorry, I can't do it, just accepted the job. I so wanted to do that job. So disappointed, but at the end of the day, you say you do a job and you've got to do it. You can't just let people down. It's not the way I want to work. And you just got to take the rough with the smooth. And you know, a job is a job at the end of the day, and I'm grateful for any jobs that I get. But I could have got more money and got home quicker if they'd called in a different order. But we all have these stories. Everyone has these stories who does this job. And the thing was that that job got re-advertised, and it was on there for quite a long time. I could have probably got more than that money for it if mine had been cancelled. I jumped over that job like anything. Right, so yeah, so I then in my head I'd made £300 gross, which is kind of what I try and do in a day, because once you take off fuel, it usually leaves me with around about £250 profit. But it hasn't worked out like that today, which I'll tell you the stats in a moment. So I got that just before I finished the day. I had to kind of get myself to Leeds ASAP, and I found myself in a situation which I don't like. It's when I'm going to a point where they're about to close to pick up a load, and I'm doing it at rush hour, and the traffic's building up and building up and building up, and I can't really do anything about that now. I've got to get there. I can't change the time. I've got to get there as soon as I can. It just adds stress to me. I'd rather have like time spare and not have to sort of be rushing to a place. But I got there. I got there 5 minutes later than the 1:30. They were there. I just quickly took the item off. It was one item, put it on the back of my van, and then I got pod signed, and then I was off. Before I headed, the other thing about the stress was I was running out of fuel. I actually got to zero fuel 2 miles from my pickup, which I know is fine. I know I'll be okay with that much. So I filled it with fuel on the way to Hull, and then I took that load to Hull, which I've just dropped off. And obviously there's no work now this time on Friday, so I'm just heading home, and I was heading home over the Humber Bridge today, which is £2.50 for me. I dropped off that load at about 6:30, so it's just about an hour to get from Leeds to Hull today. Doubting myself now. Yeah, maybe it was 7. I wrote it down, but it's too dark to read. Anyway, so yes, that's it. That's my day. So I'm heading home now. I haven't got a job booked for Monday, but I have got an empty van, so I'm kind of free agent. So I'll tell you the results for today and the results for the week. But I have to say, this week has been a grind. It's been really difficult. All CX work has been difficult. I'm trying to reflect on my decision making. I think I can be a bit more tactical, a bit more careful with the jobs I select, I think. But I also think it is quite on the CX. I think being realistic, there aren't as many jobs as there has been a year ago. And I just need to finesse my tactics and see how it goes. So yeah, stats then for today. So by the time I get home, I will have worked today for 13 hours and 40 minutes. I will have driven for 458 miles. My new average fuel cost, because I've just filled up today, is 15.24 pence per mile, which means today I've spent £69.82 on fuel. My gross earnings today were exactly £300. That's £225 from King's Lynn to Redcar, and then £75 from Leeds to Hull. And my net earnings therefore today is £230 after fuel. So not too bad. I was hoping to make 250, but I think I hear this a lot. It is what it is. Okay, so let me tell you my weekly figures. For 5 days work, I have driven for 1,657 miles, 1657. I've worked for 62 hours this week. I have earned gross £1,118. There'll be a couple of tolls to take off that, about 5 in tolls in total for I've spent this week on fuel £252.59, 252.59, and that means my net earnings after fuel this week for the 5 days work, £865.865. My pence per mile earned for every mile I've driven is, and this is after fuel, so I've taken my earnings, removed the fuel expenses, and then I've worked out my pence per mile based on that after fuel. It's 52.2 pence per mile every mile I've driven. So fuel's about 15 pence. So if you included fuel in that, my gross pence per mile earned is 67 pence. It's not great, so I do need to think about that. My average amount earned per day after fuel, my target is 250. I got 173 this week. And then finally my hourly rate after taking into account £80 per day for business costs after fuel is £7.50 an hour. So yeah, not good. Right, is there anything else to say? I've got one thing to say, I suppose. I think I realised that I'm basically an optimist. So every week I think next week will be better. And sometimes being optimistic isn't actually a good idea, because you tend to think there'll be a job. If I go to this area, there'll be a job pop up. Then there won't be, and then it's not, so you have to go find another area. So I can't really change that about me. I will just generally be optimistic. I don't try and do it, it just is naturally part of who I am. I have recognised that being an optimist does affect your decision making, and sometimes that can mean the profit margin is lower than if you were a pessimist. But equally, I'd rather be an optimist than pessimist in my life, generally. And there's something else I was going to say about this. I think it's about hindsight, I think I'm going to say. So what I try and do is, I don't try and judge my performance in hindsight, because we could all do that, can't we? We could all go, I shouldn't have made that decision, now I know the result of it. I try and learn from things, so I learn areas and learn what to do and not do. But I'm not going to say that my decisions today or yesterday were wrong because in hindsight I didn't get what I wanted, because I might have got a job, and in hindsight it would have been the right decision. So I just want to try and sort of make the point, not very well I think, make the point that judging your decision making based on hindsight is sometimes, I think, deceptive, because hindsight is always you're going to know exactly what happened. You've got to make decisions in the moment, and I think learning from decisions for the future decisions is what you should do. I wouldn't want to look back at previous decisions and go, I made a mistake in hindsight, or I made the right decision in hindsight, because I think that's pointless. I'm not sure I've explained that very well, so perhaps don't worry about that. It was just off the cuff. I'm going to get myself home now, and look forward to next week, another week of earning money. I hope you're successful in whatever way you choose to define that word, and thank you for listening or watching my video.